What could possibly connect a space shuttle disaster, a plane crash, and a company that just can't seem to innovate? Well, it all comes down to one powerful, often invisible force: psychological safety. Today, we're going to dig into this idea, pulling some incredible insights from Radha Krishna's book, Silent Nods, Lost Dollars.
All right, to really get why this matters so much, let's start with a few real-world events that, at first glance, seem to have absolutely nothing to do with each other. So picture this: February 1st, 2003. The whole world is watching as the space shuttle Columbia comes apart in the sky. It was a horrifying tragedy. But here's the thing: it wasn't just a mechanical failure. Investigations later showed that some engineers actually had concerns about damage during the launch, but they hesitated. They were worried about rocking the boat, about causing a false alarm. And that hesitation, that silence, ended up having devastating consequences for the 7 astronauts on board.
Okay, now let's switch gears to the cockpit of Avianca Flight 052. The crew knew, they absolutely knew, that they were running on fumes. But they never clearly communicated the urgency, the full-on emergency, to air traffic control. Why? They were afraid of looking incompetent. Tragically, that fear of speaking up plainly proved fatal when the plane ran out of fuel and 73 people lost their lives.
And this isn't just something that happens in the sky or in space. Think about the medical field. Staff working with the Theric 25 radiation machine knew there was a critical software bug, a bug that could deliver lethal doses of radiation. But fear of professional backlash, of getting in trouble, kept them quiet. As a result, patients, people who trusted them, received massive overdoses. Some even died from the exposure.
So you've got a space shuttle, a plane, and a medical machine. What on earth do they all have in common? Well, it wasn't a technical flaw. Not really. The common thread, the real villain in all these stories, is human silence. A silence that comes from a deep-seated fear of speaking up.
And that brings us right to the heart of it. It brings us to the one concept that could have prevented all of this, and that has the power to completely transform any team.
So what is psychological safety? It's actually pretty simple. It's that gut feeling that you can say what you think, that you can ask a so-called stupid question, or even admit, hey, I think I messed up, and you know you're not going to be humiliated or punished for it. It's the feeling that your team truly has your back. At its core, it's all about trust.
And this quote from the book really just nails it. A lack of psychological safety doesn't always lead to a huge catastrophic disaster. Much more often, it's like a silent killer of potential. It's what quietly stops a company from ever coming up with its best ideas, from ever reaching its full potential.
The book uses this really powerful metaphor of the Chinese bamboo tree to explain how all this works, how the little things, the small moments of fear or trust, actually compound over time.
And you can see the two paths so clearly here. On the positive side, you've got the bamboo tree. You water that thing for years, and you see nothing. It's because all the growth is happening underground. Then, all of a sudden, boom, it shoots up 80 feet. That's what happens with small, consistent acts of trust. You build this incredible foundation, and then you get this explosive growth in innovation. But then there's the other side, the silent erosion. Every time someone's afraid to speak up, it's like a tiny crack forms. You don't notice it at first, but with enough of those moments, the whole thing just gradually falls apart.
Let's make this real with a story from the book. Meet Ravi. He's a new engineer. He's bright, and he's just full of ideas. But every time he brings one to his manager, he gets shot down. At first, the loss is small. The company just misses out on one idea. No biggie, right? But what does Ravi learn? He learns to stay silent. So now the company isn't just losing one idea, it's losing all of Ravi's future ideas. That loss is compounding every single day, completely invisible, until it's way too late.
Okay, so if we're seeing these warning signs of silent erosion, what do? How do we flip the script and start building that exponential growth? How do we actually build safety?
Well, the good news is it's not some big secret. The book lays out 4 really clear, really actionable steps that any leader can take to start building a safer environment right away. And we're talking about real, tangible actions here. So this is what it actually looks like. It's a leader who has the courage to say, you know what? I don't know the answer. What do you all think? It's about actively listening when someone raises a problem and then doing something about it. And my personal favorite, it's about publicly thanking someone for respectfully disagreeing with you. That sends such a powerful message to everyone else. It is not only safe to challenge ideas here, it is valued.
And when you do all this, you're not just creating a nicer place to work. This isn't some nice-to-have thing. You are unlocking your team's real potential. And the results? Well, they are massive and they are measurable.
Just take a look at this number, $1.03 trillion. That's the estimated economic loss in India just from mental health conditions between 2012 and 2030. A massive chunk of that crisis is made worse by stressful, high-pressure, psychologically unsafe workplaces. So creating this safety, it isn't just good for business, it's a vital part of building a healthier society for everyone.
So ultimately, it all comes down to this one question, a question every single leader needs to be asking themselves. Your team has ideas that could change everything. The next breakthrough, the solution to that impossible problem. It's probably sitting right there in someone's head, but is it being heard? Psychological safety is the key that unlocks the collective intelligence of your team. And the cost of keeping that potential locked away in silence? Well, that's a cost that's just too high to ignore.
Dear founders, the biggest risk is a stagnant culture. Build psychological safety in your teams to have a competitive advantage.